good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. This is your boy Casanova from Orlando, Florida, on this awesome and internationale podcast. Good wine and great laughs, ladies and gents. Season 9, episode 6. And today is Saturday, September the 7th, 2024. And the weather here in Orlando is going to be with the rain showers in the morning, with the thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, highs of 89 and lows of 76 degrees. Ladies and gents, and the reason I'm wearing my Brazilian shirt says Brazil right here. The correct way to write Brazil in Portuguese with the S. There you go. Not a Z. Right here. Ooh, S, not a Z. It's because it's Independence Day in Brazil, ladies and gents. So I'm celebrating the independence of my country, and also reflecting on so much struggles and so much fights and things that some Brazilians try to do, but they still have some corruption, some too much bureaucracy in Brazil that's simply ridiculous. But my prayers for today in relation to my homeland Brazil as it can become all the potential country that Brazil can become, and the corruption can finally be eliminated so the people can have what they need to thrive, ladies and gents. So, before I start talking about the topic of the day, I got to talk about the wine of the day here, Casanova, ladies and gents. I have Meiomi right here. This is a cab, ladies and gents. And the reason that I decided to bring, because I was walking in the store and I saw this wine, and I say, let me have the cab because I had the Pinot Noir before, and there's the Pinot Noir right here. In my humble opinion, ladies and gentlemen, for all the wine that I drink in the United States, American wine, where according to my budget, that's below $25 and below, that's my budget for now, is a great wine. Now, probably you're going to find any American wine that may be $200-$300 a bottle, 100 some plus, that can be better than this. But because my humble opinion, according to my budget, it is the only one that I had, like I say, is the best Pinot Noir that I ever had. That's why this one is my collection right here. And hopefully the cab is going to make the cut too. So according to the label in the back, say that Meiomi Carbenet Sauvignon, California vintage of 2021. They say that Meiomi, meaning coast, truly symbolizes the orange of the Cabernet Sauvignon, which embodies the characters of California's most notable wine-grown regions. Expressive aromas of juicy blackberries, boysenberry, and bramble come together with notes of a toasty vanilla and graham crackers. A plush, velvety mouthfeel highlights the full flavors, leading to a long finish. The wines are carefully crafted so that these characteristics continue to enhance and build on each other for an evocative and memorable Cabernet Sauvignon. Alcohol percent of this wine, ladies and gents, is a 13.5. Contains sulfites, ladies and gents. So let's see if this cab is delicious as the Pinot Noir. And once again, ladies and gents, for those that are new to my YouTube channel, you can see my social medias right here. I always post it on my social medias, including LinkedIn, a picture of the wine of the day, ladies and gents. So if you listen to what I'm saying, if you like my review of the wine that I'm presenting in each episode, you're more than welcome to go to any of my social medias, take a look at it, make a screenshot of the wine of the day, take to your favorite wine store, and see if you can find. And if you drink any of the wines that I'm drinking here and I present, ladies and gents, feel free to make a comment and let me know if your opinion is equal to mine definitely like the bouquet of this wine. Ladies and gents, this wine is very, very good. I definitely give a 10. You can feel there's, I'm not saying that's rich in tannins, but you can see the level of tannins on this wine, but it's very, very good. And I definitely recommend it. I was watching one of the TikTok videos, and this sommelier was telling in the video that for you to avoid, I always say always drink more water of the wine, but for you to get drunk or feeling too much of the buzz of wine, if you drink a glass of wine, you drink a glass of water, and so forth. If you drink a bottle of wine, make sure to drink a big bottle of water to compensate so you don't get wasted real quick. All right, ladies and gents, so let's jump on topic of the day. The topic of the day is how is living under a dictatorship regime, ladies and gents. As you heard, there's some videos over there about the Agent Orange, Donald Trump, stating that he just want to be a dictator on day one. And a lot of people, yay! So let's break down what is dictatorship and how is living under that type of political regime, ladies and gents. And why I'm drinking this wine right here. And like I always do, I always break down and give my 2 cents about what I think about the videos that is being played. And if you like the work that I do, ladies and gents, if you like every wine that I presented, if you like the topics that I bring, I appreciate if you click on the like button, ladies and gents, as well click on the subscribe button and share this video with our family and friends, because these 2 clicks and share my videos is going to help my YouTube channel to grow faster. I appreciate the support. So
I'm in charge now, and I'm going to tell you what to do.
Okay, maybe not, but if you would kindly listen for a minute as I explain dictatorships, that would be great. A dictatorship is a form of government in which all the power lies within one person. Some power can be shared with others close to the dictator, but the overwhelming majority of power resides with that one person. Dictatorships are notorious for being scary, evil, and dangerous, but they still exist today. If it sounds like a monarchy, that's because the 2 forms of government have a lot of similarities. However, there are some characteristics that set the 2 forms of government apart. Dictators tend to take power and not let go. They don't look out for their people's best interests, whereas a monarch does, or at least is supposed to. A dictator may claim that's what they're doing, but their actions usually tell the truth. In fact, they usually take a different title because they don't like being called a dictator. One of the most well-known examples of this being in World War II, when German dictator Adolf Hitler was referred to as the Führer, meaning guide or leader. Hitler ordered the murders of millions of Jews, including citizens of his own country. Living in a dictatorship doesn't sound pleasant, so you may be wondering, how do they start and how do they stick around? There are plenty of ways dictators have risen to power, but a large number of them result from violence, taking advantage of a need for change in the country. In times of need, countries will sometimes give up authority to a singular leader for a time in order to settle a problem quickly. While it may have been the intention to be temporary, dictators can take advantage of this power in certain instances and hold on to it. Dictators hold on to their power by suppressing their people. They limit rights and only allow people to have information that they want them to know. This can include propaganda. Propaganda is any misleading information that's used to promote a political cause or view. This can be anything from lies about a country's well-being to fictional stories about a dictator and their supposed greatness. Because of these reasons, it can become confusing when a country is truly a dictatorship. Normally, outside countries will be the ones to label nations as dictatorships because of the lack of influence dictators have on citizens other than their own. Some of the most notable dictatorships have sprouted up in just the last 100 years. During and after World War II, the world couldn't help but focus on the cruel and unbelievably tragic dictatorships of Germany and Russia. Germany was controlled by the Nazi Party, led by the aforementioned Adolf Hitler, and Russia was at the time known as the Soviet Union and controlled by Joseph Stalin. Numerous crimes against humanity occurred under both men's lead, and yet many were still led to believe that they were each great leaders who would bring prosperity to their respective countries. Still today, dictatorships continue to rule over various nations without truly being recognized as one. Some use different labels, such as communist state, to distinguish themselves from being a dictatorship. As history shows with all forms of government, it's important to be aware of government officials and know when they have abused their power.
그래. 도착했어? 어디 들었어? 그렇군요. 예. なかなかね、北朝鮮の中の人が渡ってこれてないみたいなんですよね。
Jiro Ishimaru is a journalist trying to expose what Kim Jong-un's regime wants to hide, the secret world of the North Korean people. He has an undercover network which covertly films life inside the country.
これはもちろんこれは極めて
Obviously, it's an extremely dangerous thing to do.
撮影するっていうことは
In North Korea, even filming everyday life is considered a form of political treason.
裏切り行為と。だから撮影者
If they're caught filming, they'd be locked up and may never be let out
出
again.
てこられなくなる。
Even filming on the Chinese side of the border is illegal.
鉄条網がもう止まんこ高いね。去年1年前なかったんですよ。もう脱北者を出さないんだっていう中国政府のやっぱり強い意志、それと心理的な圧力を北朝鮮側の住民にかけているんだというふうに思います。
The people who work for Jiro smuggled their footage across the Tumen River, which divides China from North Korea. The North Korean border guards have been known to shoot to kill. The border has become even more tightly controlled since Kim Jong-un took over as supreme leader 2 years ago. The third ruler in the Kim dynasty after his father and grandfather. He inherited the world's most isolated country, where the people have no internet and the state has almost total control on any information.
For the record, ladies and gents, as you can see right here, this video from the PBS, Frontline PBS, was aired in 2014. So when he say that Kim Jong-un took power 2 years ago, that was in 2012. For the record, to all my listeners on Spotify and the regular podcast audio, I make this disclosure so you can understand what this video is coming from.
coming in or out. Even with the tight security, Jiro and his Japanese news organization managed to get the footage out.
여기서 내립시다. 봐라. 돈다고요?
He's going to meet one of his contacts who's made it across the border with new images from North Korea.
ちょっと近くまで行ったら遠慮してもらう行きますので。じゃあここまで。
They secretly film in areas no foreigners or journalists are allowed to visit. These are pictures Kim Jong-un doesn't want the world to see. Jiro has recruited a network of ordinary North Koreans living in towns across the country. They risk their lives to get the footage. One of his contacts is a state employee, but has been smuggling footage out for 5 years. He agreed to speak if his identity was concealed.
This is dangerous, and if I get caught, I know I'd immediately be executed as a traitor to the Korean people. But I've got to do this. I've got to do this no matter what. I'm just one person. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, someday something is going to change.
The famine, which killed more than 1 million North Koreans in the 1990s, has ended. But the United Nations says the country is still vulnerable to food shortages, and more than 3/4 of the population don't have enough food to eat. Over the past 3 years, Jiro's undercover network has filmed orphaned street kids gathering in the markets begging for money and on the lookout for scraps of food. For the safety of the people filming, he disguises their voices.
그래서 엄마가 얻어먹기 힘들다 그래서 순천에 가서 길에서 바깥에서 살아요.
Very few of these orphaned children managed to escape North Korea. But we found one who did. He asked to be identified as Lee and agreed to speak to us if we concealed his true identity.
My father passed away when I was 3, and then my mother left home and didn't return. I was very hungry. I was almost always hungry when I was young. There were times when I ate a meal a day, but when I starved, I didn't eat for 2 days. Because I was hungry, I stole and picked pockets. I lived like that until I was 14 years old. There were many others, and there were children who starved to death.
Did any of your friends die?
Yes, they did.
How old were you all then?
I was about 11.
Undercover footage from last March shows a group of homeless orphans trying to stay warm in below zero temperatures.
Below zero temperature.
There is an elite in the capital city, Pyongyang. And despite tough international sanctions, they live a comfortable life with the latest luxury goods. This woman was filmed getting into a newly imported Mercedes on her wedding day. North Korean state TV makes the country out to be a land of plenty. They show pictures of an advanced economy, happy, well-fed children, and shops overflowing with goods. Pyongyang's department store number 1 is stocked with imported products from around the world. But as Jiro's footage shows, many of the items are not for sale. The department store is regularly featured on state TV, which tells its people they live in the best country on earth. One of the regime's senior propagandists defected and is now living in the south.
물리적 독재, 이것과 함께 감성 독재로 주민들을 억압하게.
As well as a physical dictatorship, they oppress people with an emotional dictatorship. In North Korea, they promote the leader to be the sun. If you go too close, you burn. If you go too far, you freeze to death. You think of him as incredibly godlike. We thought he didn't even go to the toilet.
North Koreans can't escape the omnipresent propaganda. Kim Jong-un's speeches are pumped from speakers on street corners. This one was on a loop for 3 months, promising his people a bright economic future. Since the North and the South split in the late 1940s, hatred of America has been central to North Korean indoctrination. This government video shows a North Korean dreaming of New York City being destroyed by a missile attack.
The average North Korean believes a significant part of the anti-American propaganda. They believe that Americans are ready to invade. They believe that America is a threat. They believe that Americans started the Korean War in order to enslave or maybe commit a large-scale genocide in Korea. They believe it. Not all, but majority.
작전 전구안에 미제 침략군 기지들과 남조선과 그 주변 지역의 모든 적 해상물들을
In Pyongyang, state TV news is broadcast on public squares, warning of imminent war with America. Once a week, whole villages are required to attend meetings glorifying the leader. The regime demands displays of total loyalty. If you don't attend these weekly meetings, you could come under suspicion.
The way North Korean regime keeps the regime going, one of the reasons is fear tactics.
In North Korea, it's not only the person who commits the crime that is punished. Often their whole family will be arrested for guilt by association.
It's up to 3 generations. When the senior-most North Korean defector, Hwang Jang-yeop, defected, his relatives were rounded up in North Korea and were sent to prison camps. These guys didn't even know they were related to Hwang Jang-yeop when the security guys came knocking on their door. They said, well, I'm related to Hwang? It was like a 9th cousin. This is how North Korea operates.
Recent satellite imagery, analyzed by Amnesty International, shows that since Kim Jong-un came to power, the political prison camps have grown.
200,000 civilians that are outside of the criminal penal system. One of the camps, Hwasong, is 540 square kilometers. It's 3 times the size of Washington, D.C.
It's estimated that as many as 1 in 100 North Koreans is a political prisoner, many of whom were caught trying to defect. Still, several thousand North Koreans try to escape through China each year. Lee, the former street kid, fled when he was 18.
I was very scared, but I thought, it's better to die than live like an insect. Before I left, I prepared a little bit of food. I roasted some beans. I ate little bits of that as I went on my way. I went to the top of the mountains to see where the guards were positioned. Then at night, I crossed the river when nobody was watching. I crossed the river alone and made it into China. I used the sun to get my directions and went inland.
Defectors like Lee risk getting caught and sent back by China, North Korea's closest ally. But Lee says he met a broker who smuggled him 2,000 miles to the South Korean embassy in Thailand. He was granted asylum and flew to Seoul, where he has lived for the last 2 years. He still hides his identity because he's afraid of North Korean agents discovering him.
I graduated from high school in February this year. I'm currently looking for a job, but I'm not working yet. Although I live in South Korea now, it still troubles me to think about the North Korean children who suffer out there like I used to.
North Korea is a society that has fallen ill. It's a diseased society that needs to be cured. Our footage is forcing North Korea to acknowledge the hardship that their people face. The authorities don't like it at all. Because if the truth gets out, it would put Kim Jong-un's power under threat.
Jiro Ishimaru smuggles footage out of the country, but there is also a steady flow of information back in. Jung Kwang-il is a defector living in Seoul who smuggles foreign films and TV shows into North Korea.
The men prefer watching action films. Men love their action films. I sent them Skyfall recently. The women enjoy watching soap operas and dramas. They like that kind of film. Now they're sharing thumb drives a lot. Even officials have 1 or 2 thumb drives. North Korea is trying to hunt them down because the thing that changes people's mindsets is popular culture. It probably has the most important role in bringing about democracy in North Korea.
Zhang and his partner, also a defector, are on their way to the Chinese border to smuggle in laptops, radios, thumb drives, and DVDs.
Of course, there's a risk. But I want to send them in, so I just do it. In North Korea, rumor has it there are 100 people that are desperate to get their hands on me. But they don't know when I go, do they?
They are filming their trip with a hidden camera. Posing as mushroom importers, they bribed a border guard to let them across. The border guard isn't where he said he'd be, so they call him.
야, 내 어디 계시는데? 야? 아, 알아서 내지 아무 데도 힘 없더란 말이야. 야, 내 올라갈게. 주마가 지금 설자만 걱정했지. 정서 올라가 보지. 옳지. 그래. 아, 그 차를 하는 그건 맞지. 에이, 됐다. 산다니까. 그거 좀 땡겨? 그거 좀 땡기냐고. 저도 지금 고기 새끼를 내다본다. 예, 맞나고요? 예. 사람 안떨어한 게 보이지? 저 새끼들은 무슨
The guard says he can't get them across, so they decide to wait until night. Before defecting, Zhang used to cross the border illegally as a smuggler until he was caught and accused of being a spy. He was taken to a notorious political prison camp, Yodok.
When I arrived at the prison camp, it was April 6th, 2000. It was awful when I went inside. That day they completely beat the hell out of me. They'd put a wooden stick behind your knees and make you sit down, like this. If they pushed down on you, you'd collapse and then you'd hear your kneecaps cracking. I got beaten up and tortured for about 9 months. Before I got arrested, I weighed 165 pounds. After 10 months, I had a physical. When I looked at what I weighed, I was 79 pounds. I couldn't endure it anymore.
After 3 years in Yodok, he says the authorities determined he wasn't a spy and let him out. A year later, he defected and has been working against the regime ever since. Tonight, he's going back to the border.
And ladies and gents, as you watch these two videos, the second video is about 53 minutes on PBS Frontline, PBS Frontline. What I always do on my credits, I give you credits to PBS, of course, and as well, the first video was from the NewsDepth that I give you credits, and also that's the link of both videos. So if you want to continue watch, the PBS video, the link is under the description. Click over there and you can find out the rest of the video, because like I say, I don't want this podcast to be 1 hour and a half. I'm trying to get no more than 50 minutes. So that's, like I say, the link is available for you to continue watching that. But as you watch it, as you heard this comment and testimony of the people that lived under a dictatorship, ladies and gents, it is very important for you to pay attention to what's going on. On this election in the United States, Trump said they want to be a dictator. He has videos of them say that he want to abolish the Constitution of the United States. There is Project 2025. There's a bunch of segments on MSNBC, as well Roland Martin and all the YouTube videos and different part of it. I did a segment on Joy Reid that she had some information about Project 2025. So, ladies and gents, if you think it is a joke, if you think that Trump cares about you, you need to pay attention to these two videos I just played. What is living under the dictatorship regime, ladies and gents. This man does not care about anything but power. And one thing that I make a note on the first video that says right here, where is it? That dictators, once they get to power, they do not want to let it go. So your lifestyle right now in America, ladies and gents, you can't complain about the economy that is not that great. It is, as far as the numbers are concerned. The main problem in the economy right now is corporate greed. I know some people that work for some huge companies that the CEOs, and you saw also what happened in the auto industry, that the CEOs, when the hell broke loose, they came to the unions, please help us out. You are in this together. No, we can't just let's cut, some pay over here, some benefits, yada, yada, yada. But when things go back good, you're definitely going to make sure they will get back to you. So the auto industry went back in business after the government assistance. They are making billions of dollars in what they did. They increased their pay for CEOs, and they created more profit for the profit share, the shareholders, ladies and gents. So that's what the most of companies, the most of people that are struggling in the aviation industry. You saw United Airlines that the flight attendants vote for a strike, but they have to have a 30 days cooling period after the voting. So most of the people that are going to some struggle right now, they more likely work for a corporate company that has corporate greed, especially CEOs that make millions and millions of dollars in their pocket. Meanwhile, your sweat, blood, and tears for that job is not being recognized, not being compensated. So that's one thing that the Kamala Harris and her administration is going to address too, because this is the most administration that are on the side of the unions. Once you said before, once the union is strong, the country is strong. That's the main issue that happens. So for you to say that Trump is bad in the economy, look at the numbers, ladies and gents. Look at the numbers. So what you see right now on these videos, that's what can happen in America. So I live in Florida. There's a bunch of people that live from Venezuela. So a bunch of cars right here, the little stickers on the back of the window, back window say, Venezuela, baby. Venezuela leaves. So they know the struggle of living under the dictatorship, while Maduro is living his best life. Meanwhile, the people are struggling. So if you like, regardless of you're Republican or Democrat, I want you to think, if you like your life the way it is, they will have choices. That you can do basically whatever you want to do. get off work, whatever you want to do, you can watch whatever channel you want to watch it. You can do whatever you want to do. You have your freedom to do that. And the video played many times under the dictatorship regime. We don't have none of that. The man wants to abolish the Constitution of the United States. That should be the #1 priority of everybody. That means the law of the land. You have now a Supreme Court that's under in the pocket, Donald's pocket. So if you like, regardless of the struggle that you're going through, I'm going through some situations for my job related to, like I say, corporate greed. And I'm a job that I do, I'm a part of the union. So the union is doing what the union does best. It's to work on it. There's some stuff that I'm not going to discuss it because it's personal, but it's happening in my job. But the same token that I'm saying, you need to pay attention, because if you like, I like the life that I live. I'm not wealthy. I live a very decent, comfortable life. It could be better if you do not have the corporate greed that I'm going through right now. But this is going to be resolved. But I like the liberty to come and go whatever I need to do. I live my life a decent and simple life. I like to really. I definitely don't want to change on that. And every individual in this country is entitled to live their life the way they want to live a life. So just because I don't like certain things, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be against the other people that like their lifestyle. As long as their lifestyle does not damage or cause harm to my lifestyle, I don't have a problem with how you want to live. And all these is in jeopardy if Donald Trump wins this election. So please, ladies, please be focused. Do your research. I showed this video because a lot of people have no idea what is living under the dictatorship in America. They don't know, yes, Trump is going to be in charge, they're going to do it now. You have no clue. Because whatever you like, that thing can be gone in a heartbeat. And there's no turning back on it. There's no turning back, because once he gets the people that he want to put in charge of a whole lot of things, eliminate the Department of Education, fire a bunch of federal employees, it's going to be, excuse my language, a shit show. So, ladies and gentlemen, so please pay attention and watch this video. Share this video with everybody that you know so they can have an idea of what's coming if Trump becomes the next president of the United States. And I hope not. I pray to God, and I know for sure the way the thing's doing, too many people, because the only people that like Trump are the bunch of wealth people and the maggot head that, regardless, is a cult. They believe in his God. And that's nothing he can do that's wrong. So, but the majority of America do not want to go back. So, ladies and gents, this is about Casanova. Please be safe, be kind, and be blessed, and do the best what you can do with what you got. Salute. And I'll see you next Saturday with another awesome episode and another great wine. I got a surprise for you guys as far as the one that's concerned next Saturday. Holla!
Sucker rappers get lost. Coming from the bottom, moving straight to the top. Coming with the put up for the #1 spot. Pushing my rap like the push out on the block. Holding my